Imagine this: you've poured your heart into someone, and now silence, they're gone, no texts, no calls, no explanation, and you're sitting there wondering if your silence even matters to them. Does it? Here's the truth: your silence only works if you understand why you're doing it, and if you don't, it's just noise. Today we're diving into Stoic strategies to take control of your emotions, your actions, and your life, so your silence isn't just empty but powerful. Let's get into it. Stoicism isn't about shutting down your emotions or pretending you don't care. It's about understanding what you can control and what you can't. When someone pulls away, when they stop responding, when they act like you don't exist, it's easy to spiral. You start overthinking, wondering if you did something wrong, if they ever cared, or if your silence even registers on their radar. But here's the thing: Stoicism teaches us that the only person's actions you can control are your own. So instead of worrying about how your silence affects them, let's focus on how it can transform you. This isn't about playing games, it's about reclaiming your power. Ready? Let's go. Let's break this down. You're in a situation where someone you care about has gone silent. Maybe it's a partner, a friend, or someone you were dating, and now you're stuck in this loop of wondering, does my silence even matter to them? Do they even notice? Here's the hard truth: if you're sitting there waiting for them to react to your silence, you've already lost. Why? Because you're giving them control over your emotions. You're letting their actions or lack of actions dictate how you feel, and that's the opposite of what Stoicism teaches. The problem isn't their silence, it's how you're responding to it. Are you using your silence as a way to manipulate them, or are you using it as a tool to strengthen yourself? That's the challenge we're tackling today. 1. Understanding control. The first Stoic principle we need to talk about is control. Epicus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said something are within our control, and some things are not. When someone goes silent, their actions are not within your control, but your reaction, that's 100% yours. So instead of focusing on what they're doing, focus on what you can do. This isn't about ignoring your feelings, it's about acknowledging them, without letting them control you. 2. The power of silence. Silence can be powerful, but only if it's intentional. If you're staying silent just to get a reaction, you're still giving them power over you. True Stoic silence is about detachment. It's about saying, I don't need your response to feel okay. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They think silence is a weapon, but in Stoicism it's a shield. It protects you from the chaos of other people's actions. 3. Emotional resilience. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher, wrote a lot about emotional resilience. He said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone goes silent, it's easy to feel weak, to feel like you've lost something, but Stoicism teaches us that strength comes from within. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. The art of letting go. One of the hardest Stoic practices is letting go. When someone pulls away, your instinct might be to hold on tighter, but Stoicism teaches us that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is let go. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting their actions define your worth. 5. Building inner peace. The ultimate goal of Stoicism is inner peace, and inner peace doesn't come from other people, it comes from you. When you stop worrying about how your silence affects someone else, you start focusing on how it can help you grow. This is where true power lies. 6. The illusion of attachment. Let's talk about attachment. When someone goes silent, it feels like they've taken a piece of you with them, but here's the Stoic perspective: that feeling, it's an illusion. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, said we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When you're attached to someone, you're not attached to them, you're attached to the idea of them, the version of them you've created in your head, and when they pull away, it's not them you're losing, it's the idea. This is why Stoicism teaches us to question our attachments. Are you holding on to the person or the story you've built around them? Let me give you an example. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. If you hold it for a minute, it's easy. If you hold it for an hour, your arm starts to ache. If you hold it for a day, you'll be in pain. The glass hasn't changed, it's the same weight. What's changed is how long you've been holding it. Attachment works the same way. The longer you hold on to something that's not serving in you, the heavier it becomes. So how do you let go? Start by asking yourself, what am I really holding on to? Is it them, or is it the hope that they'll change, that they'll come back, that they'll finally see your worth? Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's real, not what we wish were real. 7. The role of time. Time is one of the most powerful tools in Stoicism and in life. When someone goes silent, it feels like time stops. Every second feels like an hour, every hour feels like a day. But here's the thing, time doesn't stop, and neither should you. Marcus Aurelius said, time is a river, and everything changes. What he meant is that time has a way of putting things into perspective. The pain you feel right now, it won't last forever. The silence you're experiencing, it won't define you, but only if you let time do its job. Think about it. When you look back at the hardest moments of your life, what do you see? You see growth, you see lessons, you see how far you've come. Stoicism teaches us to trust time, not to rush it, not to fight it, but to let it work for us. So instead of sitting there waiting for someone to break the silence, use that time Time to focus on yourself. Read, meditate, exercise, spend time with people who value you. Time is your ally, not your enemy, and the more you use it wisely, the stronger you'll become. 8. The power of perspective. Perspective is everything. When someone goes silent, it's easy to see it as a rejection, but what if it's not? What if it's an opportunity? Stoicism teaches us to reframe our expenses, to see them not as obstacles but as opportunities for growth. Epicus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Let's break this down. Imagine you're walking down the street and someone bumps into you. You could see it as an attack, or you could see it as an accident. The event is the same, but your perspective changes everything. The same applies to silence. Instead of seeing it as a sign that you're not enough, see it as a sign that you're free from someone who doesn't value you, free to focus on yourself, free to find someone who will. This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth working toward, because when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. 9. The practice of gratitude. Finally, let's talk about gratitude. When someone goes silent, it's easy to focus on what you've lost, but Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we still have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Gratitude is a powerful tool because it shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. So instead of dwelling on the silence, take a moment to appreciate the people who are still in your life, the friends who check on you, the family who supports you, the strangers who smile at you. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it puts it into perspective. It reminds you that even in the hardest moments, there's still good in the world, and that's something worth holding on to. Here's the turning point. Your silence doesn't affect her or him because it's not about them, it's about you. When you use Stoic principles to take control of your emotions, your silence becomes a reflection of your strength, not your weakness. It's not about waiting for them to notice, it's about realizing you don't need them to. That's the moment everything changes. Let's recap. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can control is ourselves. When someone goes silent, it's easy to get caught up in wondering if your silence matters to them, but the truth is it doesn't, and it shouldn't. Your silence is about you. It's about taking control of your emotions, building resilience, and finding inner peace. So the next time you're tempted to wait for someone else's reaction, remember your power comes from within. Use your silence wisely. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep building strength together.